Right, surprisingly, we are back with our rover because, well, first of all, if I've left the clip in, it started up here and it just dropped. So obviously, it's not level with the ground when it's come back, so we need to be wary of that. But our rover is back because it's reached its destination. Oh, the rover has arrived. There you go. Arrived at its destination. There we go. So we can get rid of that now. We have a mission for the rover. I will point out that we were waiting for the Mars relay mission, which is in about 6 days. So it was tight. The rover travelled a lot quicker than I thought. Actually, it's sort of moving, but we'll let that go. Right. So let's have a look. Where's my lunar rover thing? Right. It's got to get to those location. Where are we at the moment? It is currently a little bit south. Let's have a look. Let's get on the old mapsy. Well, there it is. It needs to go to there, doesn't it? So what we could do is we could just get it to drive there. Would be probably the easiest thing. It's probably going to take a day. So let's have a look. Where's our thing? There we go. Get our control panel up. And then I want to pick on map. I want to go to there. That's where I want to go. It's going to calculate it and doesn't have enough power. That's okay. So then we go to our cheaty menu. How far away is that? That is 10 kilometers. Okay, so that should take us but a moment. So what I will do is I will put this infinite power on, do this, pop back, and we shall see the rover hopefully get to its first destination. Right, we are now back with the rover again. For you, that has been but seconds. For me, that has been 5 minutes where everything loaded up. So let's have a look. The rover has arrived. There we go. Wonderful. Are we actually at our required destination? Oh, we got some science going on, have we? Yeah, we got science running. How exciting. We're in the Midlands. Okay. I did get some mountains stuff from this, I think, recently. So I wonder whether that's a thing. Right. Let's have a look on the old map. Oh, actually, yeah, let's go to the map screen. No, that's the wrong button. Same as stop pressing buttons. There we go. Right, we're going to set that as our target because we're slightly south of it. So activate navigation. There it is. We can see it there. That's good. So we know that if we go forward, we're going to hopefully head towards it. Does it tell me how far though? Hello. Is there a thing that tells me where it is? I can't see it. Right, so we're going to head that way. I don't know how far apart Bravo and Charlie site are. It might be just a stroll. It might take a moment. We might have to use Bon Voyage again. Yeah, I don't know. So let me just get these things going. I wish it would show you distance to destination. That would be nice, wouldn't it, if we did that? It would be nice if Bon Voyage had a little button that went, activate cheat menu. If somebody could mod that, that'd be really nice. It might have it. Oh, you're entering Lunar Zone Alpha. Okay, superb. Let's put the brakes on. Thank you. Uh-oh. Oh, I hate it when it starts to lean forward like that. Oh. Right. So we are stopped. Right, we've got something else to do now, have we? Right. So is that the one? That's Alpha. That's Bravo. Active navigation. Current waypoint. Route not found. That looks not far away. Let's drive to it as well. Let's do that one. Yeah, let's have an episode of driving. That's the way to do it. Brakes on, forward. Uh-oh, I don't like it when it freezes like that. Oh, we're now entering Zone Bravo. Superb. Now where's Charlie? Charlie's there. So we're going to go to Charlie, active navigation. Superb. That wasn't too bad. We'll do that. We just keep going. Keep going. Full pelt. Make it so. And you know what? We're gonna do this one quick. Right, we're going into double speed. Going double speed, that's good. That's us leaving that zone. So the zones are quite small. I'm assuming that's us leaving the zone. Auto lock is obviously a callback to a location piece of data. So there must be a piece of data somewhere that says that, but it's maybe not referencing it properly. I don't know. Right, let's get going. Let's get this thing done. And then this rover can go on a mission somewhere else. We'll just send it around the planet, I think. After this, we'll actually send it back to the ocean Porcellus or whatever. But we can send it the long way. That's a good idea. We might have to do it a few steps. Oh, yeah, we're now entering Zone Charlie. Superb. Put your brakes on. Nice and easy. Sorted. Large portion. There we go. So that is the rover contract complete. What have we got for that? 21 science and 216 funds. We can get rid of, well, we can keep that up. We will pop this on. There we go. let's have a look. How are we doing? Actually, how much science has this given us? 227. Okay, so it's not as much as the other one. What we're going to do is we're going to take this over to where that rover is, and then we've got 2 rovers. We can either use them for our landings and transporting crew, or we can send them off to the poles. I do fancy sending one off to the North Pole and things like that, because there's a lot of data to be gathered from the poles, I think. Right, so with that in mind, let us get on with something else. Right, I have jumped to our Mars relay, and we've actually gone past the burn point that we had planned. And we don't seem to have an interaction with this anymore. So I'm having a bit of an issue. That's our closest approach. I think we've had a bit of drift somewhere, or something's gone on. So I think we're going to have to figure this out. This is not what I originally planned. I don't know how much it's going to take to capture this. And I was hopeful that this was actually looking to be a really easy mission. And we have gone completely the other way, because we've obviously had something. Now, the interesting thing is, I did notice that the marker on the clock was showing that there wasn't going to be interaction, which is not what it was showing originally. So I don't know if there's been a glitch somewhere with us jumping around a lot. I don't like the way these orbits are very jaggedy. Right, I think we just have to try and capture this. So that's going to be 1,600. What's it going to be if I do a capture here? How much is my capture going to cost me? Let's have a look. For this, 1,800. Right, 1,600 and 1,800. 500 off there. That's tight. Okay. Looks like we're just going to have another close relay. Okay. Let's get rid of this one to start with. RCS is neutralizing out the engines. You know what? I've got more engines than that, don't I? I've stopped 2 of the engines. Why did I stop? Oh, because I was being clever. That's why. There we go. So we're actually using 2 of the engines instead of all 4, which actually makes this a little bit easier, because we're not going to overburn. Burn time is now coming out. Wow, that's interesting. Oh, because it's throwing it off. That's why. So at 2,000, so we should finish this pretty quickly, and then we can RCS it into the right position. The plan for these was potentially to also, because they were going to have so much delta V, because they were going to basically capture with this and have 1,000 meters per second. Potentially we could have a little flyby of Phobos, get some data from there, or Deimos. That is obviously not going to happen with this craft now, because stuff and things and the usual things that are Kerbal and its location in space. I mean, to be fair, it's limited by floating points and things like that, and you get floating point errors, and you can't blame it. It's using a system that uses just not enough space for the scale. It's a huge scale if you think about it. We'll do that. Here we go, getting ready, and 3, 2, 1. There we go. Gonna shut that off. Right, what's my thing? That's actually better than I wanted. Superb. Right, and then we're going to put a maneuver there, and we're going to capture. When's it going to capture? It's going to capture there. 1,700. That we should just have enough for that. We should just have enough for that. Okay. In fact, we're going to let it go a little bit further out, because I don't know if this communication is going to be any good. We can always reduce it later. That's 17 minutes on its burn. That's the problem, and I don't want to use all of that. We could send this just far out for now, and then we can bring it in later in a few cycles and just manage it. We have decent communication around Mars anyway, so it's not a huge one. It's more the science that I was looking for. So we'll do that. That's going to be in 9 days. We're going to mark that and give ourselves, oh, I don't know. This is the debate, because 17 minutes on a burn is horrendous. So let's go 25 minutes before. Add alarm. There we go. Right, now it is time to jump back to Mars Pathfinder 1 and see what's going on with that one. Right, Mars Pathfinder 1 has a maneuver node. Is it? Oh, it is actually in the sphere of influence. So it has actually managed to get into the sphere of influence. Okay. Focus view on that. I want to focus on the moon, the Mars. There we go. Right, so this one is actually in the sphere of influence and is where it's supposed to be. So it's just the other one. So number 1 is okay. Number 2 is a problem. So what I'm going to do is we're going to capture that. We'll do a little twist, put this into a holding orbit, and then we'll deal with it later. That's going to put it on the high end there, which does give us coverage over the pole, and is a nice thing. So this is the altitude I really want to hold them at, if I remember rightly. This is the supposed position. So at least one of these 2 missions is going to do well anyway, so that's fine. Right, so this one can just zip along. This is so what we should have had. We should have had this one doing this, and the other one was supposed to come down here and do the similar thing on the bottom. It has not, because we've got complete angle wrong issues. But again, that's the Americans. I know a lot of the early American missions to Mars were problematic for various other reasons. We won't talk about imperial and metric and things like that. All right, I think we're just gonna buzz this along, and before we do anything, we're gonna activate some engines. That's that one. We're going to activate that engine. We're going to activate that engine. That gives us full engine thrust, 45 seconds, pure joy. Yay. And you know what? I'm going to just warp it too, actually. There we go. We're just going to warp it to it. Bring it in. Has it got science equipment running is the question. All of our science is stopped. That's fine. I don't mind about that. We're going to save the power at the moment, and then we'll turn it all on later. There we go. What we're looking like power-wise, we have plenty of electricity because this thing is just good. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to be cheeky, and I'm just going to get the maneuver planner to do this. I did the last one manually. Close that alarm. Execute next node. Turn on the RCS. There we go. And yeah, this craft, the Pathfinder craft like this, I actually really like. We do have some slight issues with clipping of parts and stuff, but and some science not running, but yeah, I don't have an issue with that. Which one of these is the correct telemetry? It's the bottom one, isn't it? Yeah, so we'll turn that telemetry on. There we go. And then we turn that on, 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 that on. There we go. And this should be draining the power like anything now. So we've got 3 hours of power. Yeah. What have we got here? This avionics is on. This avionics is on as well. Okay, there we go. Full thrust on those bad boys, pulling us into a nice little orbit. There we go. And we'll have to decide what to do with this now, because oh, there we go. It's gonna hopefully sort itself out nicely. We're gonna have to decide what to do with this, because only having one of them means I can't have those opposing things that are working together. I mean, the alternative was I actually was thinking of putting them high up in like another one like this, and then we would cover the whole pole and have 2 of them cover the whole pole. There we go. That's fine. Get rid of that. Don't need that. Right. But I don't know. I actually don't know. So that's nice altitude. That's a good thing. What's our signal like? We have good signal. That's an awful lot of comms, isn't it? There's an awful lot of comms going on around Mars right now. Yeah, I think we're pretty covered. Interestingly, we're blocked, but we're bouncing off are we is that right? So our signal's blocked, so then we're bouncing off Deimos, which is then transmitting over the top via Mate 1, which is bouncing over to Pathfinder Mars 1, which is then sending a signal as well. But then Pathfinder Mars 1 is then bouncing down to whatever that is, which I think is a relay. We've got a lot of relays and stuff going on here. Where was my probe there? Was it that one? What is that? What is here? Oh, is that a lander? It must be a lander. Where's my lander? Lander, yeah, there we are. So we've got Mel 2 that is then transmitting. Is Mel 2 transmitting a signal? Yeah, Mel 2 is transmitting from a dish as well. So we actually have got an awful lot. Let's just pull this down. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 connections, giving us actually quite a decent bit of data transfer through about 4 different relays. That is brilliant. Yeah, I think we should be okay around Mars. What I do need to set up is the autos things for power off and stuff like that. But we're going to leave this here now. We've got the other Mars mission we need to deal with, probably off camera, because I feel negative towards it already. We're not going to do much with it. So while our Lunar Rover 2 moves off on another 1,200 kilometer journey, which will take it, I don't know how long, because I haven't worked it out yet. I should really sit down and work it out. We have Vesta 1, Vesta 2, Jupiter arriving in Callisto. We've got Ceres 1 and Ceres 2 arriving. So that's the next 3 weeks for us, basically lined up. I don't know how long these are going to take from going from sphere influence changes to actually capture burns and things, but we've got a lot of stuff going on in the next 3 weeks. I also have the Dog 5 rolling out, and that's going to potentially launch. That might be the end of this episode. It might be the start of the next episode. We will see. We've also got the Saturn window in 130 days, but that's fine. So we've got all these coming up. So I suppose we should get started. So here we are with Vesta 2, I believe this is. I think this is Vesta 2. We'll best check. Yeah, it is Vesta 2. Vesta 2 is in the sphere of influence of Vesta now. And we're going to try and do a capture. Now, we are going to get to the periaps in about 2 hours. I'm just looking. We should have more than enough delta V on our capture stage. So we're going to try and just see if we can get into a capture for this. Let's see, how much is it going to cost? We're up at 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. There we go. Okay. So I don't think Vesta's got high science and low science, I don't believe. We're in currently... Oh, wait. Space high. So there is a space high. Okay, so what we'll do is we will let it sit in a combination of the two. I don't know where the high and low is. So I'll just let's see. That's high there, is it? How long does that take? That's 16 days. Wow, that's a long orbital period. So we could actually just sit it there and do some science there. Okay. So we'll put it in at that orbit, I think. It also means we can then maybe put it into a polar orbit. I don't believe there are biomes on it. If there are, I'll be shocked. But we are coming in with like a 90 kilometer sort of orbit. So that's somewhere to start with. Right. First thing to do, that's a 7-minute burn. First thing to do is actually make sure our engines are turned on. So activate that engine. Activate that engine. There we go. Right. And then we can just warp towards. In fact, we can just warp with this thing. Actually, let's do that. Let's close this down. All right. Are we getting science? We're getting a lot of science data. We're not getting orbital perturbation because let's have a look. Our inclination isn't high enough. Yeah, I thought that might be the case. Temperature is shrouded. Oh, that's annoying. And image spec is shrouded as well. We seem to have intermittent shrouding, non-shrouding with some of these things. So we might get the science, we might not. We will see. So we'll just take this. We'll get this thing all the way down there and hopefully get ourselves... Oh, there we go. We've got some science already coming from Space High. Space High of Vestas. Wow. So there is actually a lot of biomes. And they are also pretty sort of varied. That's it. We're still Space High. Is it all Space High? That's a question, actually. I hadn't even thought about that. Maybe it's all Space High. Right. Well, with that in mind, let's get ourselves on the node, get the RCS firing. That will no doubt change the periaps. Now, we are coming in at 68 kilometers up, and I'm not sure what the orbital speed around this is, but looking at our orbital speed now and the delta V we're going to apply, I think we can potentially land this, because I'm looking at the thrust away of that upper stage. I think we could land this, possibly. We could possibly land it with RCS, which is a little concerning. It would be a reasonable soft landing as well. So it's something to think about there. We could slam him with this, to be fair, but that's a little excessive. Right. We are ready. Get the old RCS on and fire the engines. And this is going to be a big burn. So I'm going to I'm gonna timey-wimey warp this. We are coming in. It'd be interesting to see when we switch over to low space, or whether it's all high space all the way down. It might only be one level of space, which is sort of logical. Look at that. That's a great view, isn't it? Oh, look at that. Just backing into the planet as a planet. Yeah, it is a planet, isn't it? Well, it's an asteroid. Is it an asteroid or a planet? I don't know if we're a dwarf planet, I suppose, is being classed as nowadays. All right. So bringing it in. We've got a long way to go. Keeping our mind on this periaps. I've kept it high on purpose because I know this is going to be a long burn. It's a chunky burn, shall we say. We've got 2 minutes left in this. We're going to be at the node in 20 seconds. So at that point it gets a bit more interesting. There we go. We're now at the node. And we're still gathering science all the way down. We've got 2,000. We're now in the green. That's interesting. We're now in the green, which is good. So the stock system is... Oh, that surface does not look healthy. I will point out we do not have parallax installed, I don't believe, in this save, so it's not going to look as great as it could. That's very spotty, but then I suppose Vesta is a spotty planetoid, isn't it? So there's not much data on it, so it's possibly made up. It's a lot of interesting patterns there, actually. It'd be interesting to land on it. Space just above, so there is space just above, and there is other stuff as well, so that's interesting. Right, getting ready to cut the engines, and there we go. Right, let's have a look. I wanna cut the engines. Let's turn that off, put us on retrograde. Right, there we go. Okay, so we are now transmitting back. Are we transmitting much data? We have a lot of data that's going back. What sort of speed are we working at? We are currently, it doesn't tell me. There we are, 500 bits per second. It's not huge, but it is using it up. So let's have a look. We've got we've got about an hour of electric charge on this thing because we're just transmitting at vast amounts. I think we've got it all set up properly, so that should be okay. If it dies, it dies. Off and on, that's good. Yeah, that's all set up properly for that. That's good. Contract complete. We have got our flyby of Vesta. 500,000. Wow, that was easy. All right, so this thing can just sit here now and do its stuff. We've got orbital speed is 300. Yeah, we can land this thing because this is actually the fastest it will be going as well. Like, how much is it going to cost us to actually pull this down? It's going to cost us... How much? It's going to cost us... Okay, it's going to cost us about that. So it's going to be about 230 meters per second orbital speed. Yeah, this is landable. This is really landable. In fact, this is not just landable. This is landable multiple times. We could put the craft down and then just let it sit there. I mean, yeah. Okay. We may want to put this thing into a polar orbit. We'll see. Not a big hurry either way. So there we go. Well, that's that done. The problem is if we put it into a polar orbit, yeah, we're still going to have ourselves. Is that going to be occluding us? No, it's not, because the Earth is there. So we're gonna pretty much have signal to Earth most of the way around this orbit, I think, at the moment. It's actually really nicely positioned, thinking about it. It's there. So it's going to be there, yeah. And then it's going to be there. Yeah, we've actually got a really nice orbital path, right. Well, that's one done. Let's go do the next one. Well, I've just jumped across to our other Vesta mission, and it seems, I don't know what's going on here, as though we have got a problem. It's not showing up as any closest approach. There is Vesta. I'm not really sure what to do about this. That's 3 days away. Wow. Right, so I've jumped back out again, and we've come back in, and let's try it again. Let's add a maneuver. That is in 14 hours. At least it's staying roughly where it should. So can we do anything here? Can we slow down? Can we get any sort of interaction? Is there anything gonna happen? I mean, I don't think there is. I think the problem we have is that I think we've got a glitch. The glitch has thrown us completely off course. You could see that it was marking as having a thing occur, but the interesting thing is we're not seeing a closest approach anywhere. We're just experimenting now, aren't we? So there we go. That's going to take us to... Right, that's that's an encounter. When is that? That's in 1,000 days. Okay. Oh, now. Here we go. What is that? There we are. That's interesting. That becomes more interesting by the second. So, we do get an encounter there. And I'm assuming when we get the encounter, we're not going to have to use as much delta V to capture. So we could still do something with this craft. When is that going to be? That is going to be in 3-4 years. Well, it's not a loss. It's just going to be a long-term thing. So let's do the burn. It's in, let's see, have a look. Burn time is 7 minutes. We're going to activate all the engines. It starts in 2 hours. Update on the Pathfinder Mars mission. This one, the fail. Yeah, it failed. if you hadn't guessed, we're going to start some engines. Oh, wait, there we go. We'll pull back. It failed primarily because doing the maneuver was going to be tight on fuel to start with. The problem being, it was tight on fuel, and then we had a really inefficient burn because our final stage is very small. Because it's very small, it was not optimal, and so we had about, I worked it out at the start of the burn, we had about 60 to 70 meters per second in a pocket. We wasted that through non-optimal burning. There's nothing you can do when you're trying to capture though, because you have to capture. If you don't capture, you don't get a second chance. We could have tried to sort of finagle some sort of interesting flyby pattern in the future, but we can send craft to Mars cheaply. That craft itself we could relaunch and send another one to Mars before that one would come back around again. So not a big issue for us, not a big problem. We just leave it, let it do its thing. The interesting thing is, I think we're going to have more Delta V left on this rocket when it finally gets to Vesta. That is interesting. I hadn't even thought about that. So after this one, it actually gets lined up and we do it sort of sorting it out. We then have this Callisto mission, and this is the one that scares me because potentially this is the one that, if it's wrong, is hard to fix. Luckily, Jupiter's big, so if it misses Jupiter, we've got a big problem. But I actually had it lined up for, I think we'd gone through some of the plans for this optimally to try and get the optimal sort of approach and orbit. I don't know how tight it is on Delta V. It's probably very tight. So anyway, yeah, that's what we're going to do with that. So anyway, we're going to finish this burn off. This is, of course, the second Vesta arrival, which is going to be in a few years' time now. We're going to abort that node. Thank you. No, come on. And we're doing this pause again. There we go. Port that. We're going to put us in prograde. There we go. We're going to jump back to the map view. And we're going to see what the map view is telling us. What is the map view telling us? The map view is telling us that we don't have an encounter. Or do we? Nope, it is not showing an encounter. That's interesting. But there we are. That's the closest approach. Okay, so now we can do a little bit of this. There we go. Take it down. A bit of RCS. Take it down as far as we can, and you can see just how close Vesta and its sort of stuff and things is. That, you know, we've jumped to the other side. There we go. That's okay. How much is a capture of this one going to be? Let's have a look. It is going to be 400. You know what? I don't mind about that. This thing's going to arrive late. We'll put it into a high orbit. We'll put it in a polar thing. We'll deal with it. It'll be not a problem. I don't really have an issue with it. It can act as just whatever. I don't think it has relay capability, so that's not a thing. I don't think. Yeah, I don't see any relay capability. So that's going to be that. When's it actually going to arrive? Let's have a scroll down. What's going to come first? We're going to have window. There we are. Vesta 1 arrives. Oh, literally. Ooh, about 200 days before the Uranus mission. And that was in Discovery 11. That was probably set off, what, 10 years ago, something like that? Wow, that must be one of our longest running missions, with the exception of the Neptune. No, it is the longest running mission, because Neptune is the 15. Right, so we've got this set. I guess it's time to leave it and move on to Jupiter. So here we are with Pathfinder Jupiter 1, and this is aimed to go to Callisto. You can see we've got Callisto targeted. We've got about a day to go on this, so we're going to just warp it forward a little bit, bring us into the time when we need it. You can see here, we've actually got Flyby for Callisto. I don't think we've actually selected it. Or no, it's already had a flyby, but the aim is for this thing to orbit. That's the plan anyway. But we're going to use the Jupiter Orbital Science Probe mission to actually pay for these 2 missions going to Jupiter, because I think that the Pathfinders have the ability to actually capture around Callisto and around Ganymede. Where's Ganymede? There's Ganymede. I think we have the Delta V to do that. So we're going to try, but we can get this mission covered because Callisto is only, well, we're looking at 2 billion meters here. Callisto is within that 2 billion meters range, which is really good for us, because it means just by trying to rendezvous, as it were, with Callisto, we can do stuff and things. The batteries are running low on one of our craft. So what I'm actually going to do is we're going to pop back out of that. We need to go to, where are you? Where's Vesta 2? There you are. I want to go to you. We're gonna change this so it stops popping up. We don't care about the batteries. We know they're going to recharge because we know that they actually have the ability to do that. They've got RTGs. So we're about 21 hours out. We're gonna speed on through, and then this one we're gonna do a capture. Now we were very careful when we actually did this to put the periaps and the descending node very near each other, which means when we do a plane change on the far side there, it'll be a lot easier. Now this is 70 days to Jupiter periaps. This is going to be a long-term mission for us, because once we're in the sphere of influence of Jupiter, everything starts taking time in even more. We also have to be careful we don't get any interactions with these other moons, and that could potentially sort of kibosh things. It's very easy to get yourself into a nice plane with Callisto, because it's online with all the other moons, and then hit the other moons, and that is a problem for us. So we're gonna attempt to do this. So let's see, we've got a little bit of time to go. Let's pop it into the sphere of influence. Hopefully this periaps will stay where it is, and we can do our capture burn, and then we can plan our plane change. Hopefully, there we go. Right, so we're gonna do a capture burn here. We're going to do the capture burn around here. There we go. Add that to there. And we're just going to capture lightly. Now, the lighter we capture, the easier it is to do our plane change. But the longer this mission is going to take. It's going to take, potentially a year to do an orbit of Jupiter at some of these distances. So there we go. How long does that take? That's 273 days. I mean, well, that's not a little bit, is it? And then what we want to do is we can't do a plane change to match, which is annoying. Oh, hello, we've got another pause. We're getting a lot of pauses at the moment in this, and I think it's partial savings because the file is getting big, and some other stuff. So I want just the node. So I'm going to come right in here and I'm going to grab the node. Right, okay, -13. Right, what happens if I do that? That's going the wrong way. Okay, so we're going to take it down to 0. What's that? That's a close approach. Okay. Let's have a look. -1. And there we go. That's not bad. What I actually want is I want them to be the other way. What I like to do is my ascending descending node, I like them to be at right angles to where I started. Yeah, there we go. Right. What's that done to my periaps down here? It has crept up a bit, but that's not a problem. Actually, that's sort of a positive in many ways for us. So that's going to be the next burn. We're going to do a burn there, burn there. That's what we're going to do. Okay. That's going to then mean that this second periap, so all the way down here, the one that's after this, that's going to be in, where are we? It's going to be in about 1.5 years. So in 1.5 years, we'll be ready to then start thinking about bringing this orbit down and trying to get some sort of interaction over here. We may want to try and pull this up as well while we're at it. So what we might do is we'll pull this down to the same height as this. You can see the orbit here, it is moving, but we can put it at a certain height and then we'll start moving this one a little bit. It's not massively efficient. We'll have to look at the delta V requirements. Now, let's check that plane change. How much is that costing us? So maneuver 1 is about 600 say. Next one is 40. That's nothing. That's brilliant, which keeps all of this beautiful delta V for the capture. I don't think we can land this craft, but hey, we can get near. We can get near it. Right, so then we're going to add our nodes here. So we're going to go for, this one is in 70 days. We'll go 15 minutes before because that's a good idea. And we'll add that. Can you add future, show extra details? No, I don't want that. Can you show like the next ones? You can't, can you? Can I? Okay, we're going to have to come back and set the node then. So the crew, contract, source up. Okay, so we've got that. That's cool. Get rid of that. So that one's going to be in 70 days. And I suppose, have we got science going on right now? Data, let's have a look. We probably have a lot. Yeah, we do. So let's have a look. It's got a lot. We've got shrouded again with the image spec. We need to redesign the actual, these missions, I think, just to make them a bit better. But we do have improved tech now as well. So that is something that we'd probably do. We'd probably upgrade the whole program. I think the Pathfinder was his B2, Pathfinder B2, or 2B, or whatever it is, B2. I think can be upgraded to a new version, and I'll do that sometime. Might do it on camera if people want to see a how I go about building these craft with all of this tech in it. We do have some extra science coming up as well, and we've got quite a lot of extra science tech on its way, so we'll have to figure out what we can take and what we can't. Yes, I know we've got stuff like orbital perturbation that we might not use, but you know, potentially there's a lot of opportunity for, if we can get an orbital perturbation craft in Jupiter high space, that's staggering. But some of these are big, like the mass specs and things like that are big ones that they have done before, but if we can get them around planets, absolutely superb. Right, let's go do Ceres. Right, so here we are with the Ceres mission, and yeah, I don't know how this one is. I haven't looked at the map yet, so let's have a look. Where are we? As always, we're not on the line properly, but let's see. We do have an interaction. Okay, that's a positive. So let's focus the view. We have an interaction. How close are we coming in? Pretty close, actually. That's 40 kilometers. And I think Ceres is going to be a bigger stop, is it? Is it how much delta V are we looking at to capture? Is it going to be in the 4,000 range? Is it going to be in the 5,000 range? It's going to be, oh, it's a biggie. Oh, yeah, it is a biggie. Okay. Is Ceres smaller or bigger than Vesta? I always wonder. I need to check that. And so Ceres 1 is now in the sphere of influence. It's actually going to depart in about 6 hours, 7 hours. So it's actually technically would depart before its sister craft arrive. We've got this maneuver ready. I don't feel the need for me to do it. Oh, by the way, rover got in on the act right as we were about to come into the Ceres sphere of influence. We got a notification the rover has arrived to its destination, so we'll have to look at that towards the end of the episode, maybe. So that's going to close up. So I think, you know what, we're going to easy this. We're going to go maneuver planet. We're going to go over here. We're going to go execute next node. We're going to turn the RCS on. There we go. It's gonna ruin my periapse. I mean, literally, it's gonna ruin it, isn't it? Yeah. And this thing will just spin around. And one of the things I find quite interesting with MechJeb is sometimes in RP-1 it'll do what it's just done there. It'll fire the engines, the RCS, slowly rotate around at a reasonable pace. Then it'll stop it, and then it'll just be happy to do its stuff and things. Other times, it will take forever to rotate the craft, or it'll just keep burning. It just keeps burning them over and over, trying to sort of fight it. Yeah, I do notice that a lot of crafts are now getting roll that I don't think they should have when they didn't have roll. And so it's sort of being, I don't know if it's the save process or persistent rotation. Of course, persistent rotation is now sort of built into RP-1 and stuff like that, but it does seem as though it's sort of, yeah, it's not as good as it was. Right, so we're getting to the point now where we're gonna have a look and get some engines going. There we go. Look at that. Oh, that is a good bit of engine fire there. Hopefully I'll remember to turn down the engine roar in post, because otherwise you'll be deafened, because I am being deafened by it right now. Yeah, I think Ceres looks nicer. Ceres looks like a nicer thing. You got this interesting bit on the sort of south there, the sort of southern hemisphere, where you've got that sort of bobbly cratery bit. We've got that icy crater at the sort of just above the equator on the right hand side there. It's very heavily pockmarked, or craters in craters, which I always think is quite cool. Yeah, it looks really cool. I'd love to know how accurate this actually is, whether this is scans from, or pictures from, you know, telescopes, things like that have been stitched together, or whether it's just completely sort of fabricated construction at the moon, but with a bit of difference. I don't know. Anyway, let's actually check on how we're doing. We've got about 3. Oh, you can see here actually the time until it departs is going down. That's good. We've got, this is such a long burn. Get rid of that clock actually. Don't need that. So we are looking at an awful long time. Contract completed. So we have completed the Ceres flyby. That's cool. Got that data. We'll leave the rover to remind me. Let's have a look. What have we actually got? We got, so image spec is shrouded. That's annoying. Orbital perturbation is not going to run, and we got the temperature scan, which is shrouded, but the pressure isn't shrouded. How does that work? They're both in the same place. Interesting. Where is the image spec? Where is the image spec? Where are we? Where are you? You're shrouded. So temperature is not showing up, but where's the image spectroscopy? Are you interesting? I think you're in here, and I think you've moved. I think one of the problems we have is that we sit them, and I would have them facing outwards, and then I think when they load in, they actually jump a bit, and then they get classed as shrouded or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, there we go. We're definitely bringing it down a bit. A long way to go still, though. We've got 4,000 still to go on this. You know what? We can actually speed this up, can't we? There we go. The positive of this is that it doesn't start to lose periaps until you get through, because we're going so much relatively faster. Our orbital speed is what we're looking at. We're going to potentially, we're looking at 400 meters per second orbital speed at low point on a high elliptical orbit, which is not much. So again, potentially we could land this, I think. Looking at thrust to weight, yeah, we got the thrust to weight to land this top stage as well. So we may do that. We may leave it in orbit and then we'll just go for a landing, and we could even go for a couple because we've got quite a lot of delta V there. It really depends on the gravity of this thing. I'm going to say it's a bit like the moon, probably, but we'll have a think about that. There we go. We're past the periaps now. So yeah, we've got time to periaps is a minus because we've got infinite time until the apoapsis. The engine is still going. This is a long burn. This is. I'm waiting for one of the engines to give up actually. 1,000 meters per second left in this stage. We've got a little bit left to go. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Gonna slow it down to normal speed. We're about ready. We're about to capture. I hope. There we go. Got it. Turn that off. Close that. Stop everything. Cease and desist. There we go. Cease and desist. Put me in retrograde. Yeah, actually put me in retrograde. Okay. Wow. Now, how long have we got until the next arrival? We have 8 hours. How long? 10 days as an orbit. Wow. Well, while we're on the maneuver planet, what I want to do is actually, let's change the inclination to, what's my current inclination? Let's have a look. Where are we? Orbital. Current inclination 27. So we can just change it to 90. Let's change this to 90. Create node. Wow, that's where is it? So it's out the way there. Oh, that's beautiful. I think I want to do that. What's it do for our thing? Yeah, that's perfect. That's in 17 hours. So we'll do that as well. We'll get this done. That puts us in a nice high inclination. And then we can potentially bring this down. Now, the one thing I want to look at is how long does this take? It's a lot of science, this, but it doesn't have any, so space low and space high probably have both. So we need to figure out where space high is. Yeah. So we'll put it into this and then we'll basically, I can play with it a bit and figure out where space high is going to be and stuff like that. Wow, we are with Series 2 and we have had the same thing happen as with Vesta. So you can see here, we've actually gone, I think we've gone past it already. So either the time elapsed was different. See, that says 5 hours again. We've done that thing again where it's jumping out and there's something going on. Right, I'm going to just quickly get out of this. All right, we've sped forward time. We're going to use the rendezvous planner to do this because it's easier. I just pulled anything up. Don't need to do the rendezvous planning. There we go. Fire that. Then we're going to speedy up everything, get this thing going, because it's a 4-minute burn, but I don't want to wait for 4 minutes. I want to get this done. So let's have a look. Oh, that's done that thing where it's jumped to one of the sound channels but not the other properly. That's really interesting that Kerbal does that. Again, I hope I have brought that down in post, because otherwise you're all going to be deafened, and you do not need to be deafened. So let's have a look. We're going to go into this orbit, and it's going to basically match Ceres, but it's not going to be Ceres, because we're actually past the back end of Ceres, which I think is quite interesting. There we go. So my apoapsis is now here. That is now my apoapsis gone. We're now not at our highest point. Well, that is, I suppose that's changed, isn't it? We're burning weirdly, let's be entirely honest. Are we going? We're going out. We're basically trying to put ourselves into, we're going to try and dock with Ceres. We're going to do what we've done with Vesta, with Ceres. Unfortunately, I think Ceres is probably going to be harder to do. And I'm not sure why, because Vesta's pretty much in the same sort of orbit path. You can see the distance between the two of them. The difference is that they're on quite different inclinations, so we couldn't jump easily from one to the next, which is annoying. Might have been easier just to go to Vesta with this one, actually. Right. Let's have a look. Ascending node's over there. It's up by 0.2. We've got a descending node there. I'm going to wait until we get to the ascending node. So let's have a look. Maneuver planner. Oh, actually, you know what? Get rid of that. We're going to do it like a rendezvous. That's what we're doing. So match align planes. There we go. That's going to be in that point there. It's going to be 52 meters per second to do that. Oh, and that then gives us a little encounter there that's close-ish. Let us jump across to the other mission in our lives, so Series 1, and get that sorted, I think, into its highly inclined orbit. So we've got 700 meters per second in this tank. We've got, this is a very small burn. We obviously are high in space now. What's the old science looking like while we're doing this burn? Let's have a look. Orbital perturbation is currently not running, but it can do high space, and you get 800 for it. So it's actually worth us leaving this in orbit for a while to do this. I don't know how long it takes. We're going to find out once this burn happens, I suppose. Let's see. Zooming in is obviously taking time now, because everything is taking time. I'd like your take on the last two of these 4 missions. My concern is that we're now getting to the point. Oh, let's have a look at that. I'm not going to hit the surface, am I? No, we're okay. We're now getting to the point where 9 years. Wow. Okay, we're going to leave that a little while to get some data, but I'm not in a hurry to get any more. We're now at a point where if half my missions that go into planetary fail because of glitches, it's going to get annoying. And now we've had what I would consider 2 glitches. Now, okay, they are the same, basically the same craft, so it might be a craft issue. It might be that they've been, sat and waiting to be watched. I don't know. Maybe I should have come back to them when they were in the sphere of influence, but one of them lost its little timer saying it was going to do it. The other one did the same thing, but only when you went to it. So I'm not sure what's going on with those. So after our 20 days of flying around Ceres and Vesta and Jupiter, we've managed to gather about 500 units of science, and that's primarily from probably other missions. We've got a lot from Vesta and Ceres, but we will have got a lot from our other missions. That means we've got 26 upgrade points. That might right? It should be more than that, surely. Anyway, we're going to plop a load into here. We're going to just do this. And one of the things that science is doing for us right now is it is actually providing me with the upgrade points, and that's a big thing. I'm a big fan of the upgrade points. I'm a big fan of just getting things upgraded through science. You can see we can get our build rate up almost like what, 7% there, which is really going to help us a bit. We still have we've got the three lines of production, but that's it. That's all we've got. Obviously, there's the launch pads and complexes, or launch programs and complexes, or programs and launch complexes version of RP-1 that's being trialed at the moment, and that changes all of this. And I will probably do a playthrough of that at some point. I don't know if I'll do a full one, or we'll just do a first to orbit or something like that, something a little simple, because I know it's still being fleshed out. So yeah, we've got the Curie being built. We've got the Sky Eye, which you will see at some point on the J25, which you have not seen the J25 yet. You've not seen the J200 either. which is actually what's down here, the Dog 5. The J225 and the J200 are related distantly, and they are very different to the other launch vehicles we've been using. The Curie, I think, also uses a J200, but I haven't noted it on there. Anyway, I think next time we're going to send this Dog 5 up. We possibly have some departures going to Saturn, but we do have to do some stuff around Jupiter and Ceres. And so that is going to be it from me for now. So from me until next time, have a great one.